What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So on the 1st of November of last year, we made the outlandish statement that we go from 0 to 1 million euro net worth with a 5-year plan. So again, we need to get that at 1 million by the 1st of November 2026. And we also said we give monthly updates here as well in terms of how we're progressing, in terms of our goals for growth stocks, dividend stocks, crypto, ETFs, real estate, etc. So in today's video, as we kind of come to a close of January 2022, and as we push on towards the rest of this year, I thought we'd give an update. So that's what we're going to do for today's video. So all that being said, let's get straight into it. So as you can imagine, it's imperative that you keep track of all your goals here as well in terms of progression, because you need to be realistic in terms of how much you'll get for each year. For example, we're not going to have the full 1 million net worth by the end of 2022, as it's a 5-year plan. So again, we can see on screen we have 8 different means of income here that I want to diverge or diversify across all different allocations. We have real estate, growth, dividend, ETFs, crypto, YouTube in terms of ad revenue and sponsorships, affiliate marketing, etc., other business, and general savings / physical assets. Now we can see there in column D, we have my 2022 targets that overall, if we can hit this each year, year in, year out, we will get to that 1 million. So in today's video, as stated, we're going to go through each of these, not in a whole lot of detail, but we will give a kind of update in terms of progression, and we're now going to start with real estate. Okay, let's kick it off with real estate. So as mentioned in my last month's update, we have kicked off the build here as well, and we have about 28,000 capital of our own cash put up front so far. Now, again, this is pretty much an old picture, so I will give an update once we go down to the site in the coming days, because we are meeting the builder as well. And when we're meeting the builder, we'll be putting down another 20,000 euro of our own capital, which will bring us up to about 48,000 of our own cash up front here. But by the end of this year, before the house is built, I do want to have about 120,000 euro of our own capital in this property, because it's no surprise, the smaller the amount of mortgage you have to get, the better over the next 35 years in terms of repayments in interest. So again, we have 120,000 euro goal of our own cash to hit by the end of this year. Now, again, in terms of mortgage repayments, I will be adding this to the spreadsheet as well once we pay back the amounts. I won't be adding in the interest because, again, that's kind of dead money as such, and it doesn't indicate the value of the property. But I will, let's say a mortgage repayment was 1,000 a month, then let's say 200 of that was interest, and I put down a further 800 monthly onto the spreadsheet to give our overall net worth and give an accurate figure here as well. But again, there hasn't been much update since our last video in terms of the real estate. Now this is old as mentioned, so I will be sending in more updated pictures in the next monthly update at the end of February as well. But I'm very happy with the progress here, and again, I'm very happy, and I must emphasize that it is our own capital and cash up front of 120,000 euro, which definitely will pay its rewards long term by not having to get a large mortgage. So just to clarify, for this update, we have 28,643 euro towards real estate with 120,000 target, leaving 91,356 to fill by the end of the year. But again, as mentioned, we have a lot of this in savings accounts outside of this as well. So we will be paying another 20,000 upfront capital cash probably by the end of this week or month. So again, this will probably be close to the 50,000 mark, if not more, by the end of February when we do the next update. Now, the second goal here on the list is growth stocks. We currently only have 262 euro invested here, where we have 10 growth stocks on Etoro, which we'll check in a few seconds. But again, we only started this just after Christmas as well, and the markets have been dropping all around across all different sectors, even in growth, dividend, ETF, crypto, etc. It's been a fairly bit of a bloodbath in terms of stocks, but as a long-term investor, this is actually great news, which I say time and time again, in terms of getting your overall dollar cost averaging down as low as possible, so that when the markets do rebound, that is, and go back into a bull market, that you'll reap its rewards by getting more of a profit. So I do want to have about 5,000 euro allocated to growth stocks by the end of this year as well. So we have about 4,738 to go here as well. But I have no kind of hesitation of us meeting that target at all. I think it's very realistic. We'll see in a few seconds as well. Our dividend stocks, I want about 5,000 there as well. But now let's look at Etoro to check what 10 growth stocks we currently have. So here we are on Etoro, where we currently have about $312 invested in 10 different stocks. Now again, this is only a beginner stage of the portfolio, so it's pretty much a great time to invest, considering it's pretty much a bloodbath and there's a huge bear market kind of happening at the moment, which you can see a lot of these stocks are down double figures in terms of even Facebook here is down 10.5%, which as a long-term investor is actually brilliant news because our overall investments are tiny at the moment, which means it's going to be very easy to get our overall average cost down because we only have small amounts of capital invested here at the moment. So I will be eager over the next few months to really start ramping up this growth stock portfolio. We can see we're predominantly kind of tech-based stocks here. We have Apple, Facebook, Microsoft, Amazon, Disney, MasterCard and Visa then are two finance stocks, and we have a few more down below which I'll look at in a few seconds. But again, creating this portfolio a few weeks back, I was kind of under the impression here that I do want to start focusing more on tech, hence why it's strongly tech-based in most people's growth portfolios. But again, I am kind of thinking as well, which you mentioned in prior videos, that I do want to add maybe 2 ETFs here in terms of growth for the iShares Global Clean Energy ETF, and probably one of Cathie Wood's ARK Invest as well, which again, just like these stocks, has been hit very hard lately. So now might be a good time to get in because the prices are pretty much at very big lows. Following on from the top 7 stocks, we then have 3 more at the bottom here making up the 10. We have Tesla, which has been hit extremely hard lately as well, down 17.2%, which again, I'd have nearly begged for that to happen because it's going to be getting in a lot cheaper price, which as a long-term investor, everyone should actually want your stocks to go down in value, as crazy as that sounds. So again, because overall you can get in a cheaper cost. For example, if this was up 17 or 20% in the green, why would I want to buy more? Because again, I'm paying 20% or 1/5 more than I did originally. So as a long-term investor, it's actually great to see your stocks in the red in the short term. We then have Flutter Entertainment, or Paddy Power / Betfair, which is a betting company, and it's my only Irish stock in my overall, all my portfolios, which is strange enough considering that's where I reside. And then the final stock here, again, another tech stock in the form of Alpha Class A or Google, again down 6.4%. But overall, I'm very happy with how the markets are going at the moment, considering I am going to snap up a lot of deals, and I believe you should too. Next up on the list, we have my dividend portfolio, which is on Trading 212. Now we'll see in a few seconds, we have 50 stocks overall in this portfolio, all blue chips spread across all 11 different sectors. Now a lot of people might think that's too many to have in a portfolio. Some might think it's too little as well. So again, there's no magical number in terms of dividend portfolios, but I'm kind of happy enough, especially because we are going to start putting a large amount of capital here over the coming years, that I do want to diversify across all sectors, which we'll see the importance of that in a few seconds. Currently I have €735 in here. We have a 5,000 target, which means we need another 4,265 before the end of the year. Now, just before we go over the Trading 212, we can see at the bottom so far we've accumulated about 29,640 so far, which is just under 3% of the overall goal to get to 1 million by the end of the next 5 years. Now here we are on Trading 212, again 50 stocks across all different sectors. Now we have about €736 overall in this account, 25 of which is still pending, which I know is absolute peanuts, but again, as mentioned in prior videos, over the grand scheme of things, consistency and buying dollar cost averaging on the dip, even with small amounts of capital, really pays off long term if you consistently do so, even with small amounts. Now again, so we have about 736 here. Now we'll have a kind of very brief look through each of my sectors. We won't go into detail here because that would be a full video in itself, considering there's 50 holdings. So one of the reasons why I enjoy using Trading 212, especially with large volumes of stocks, is because it's very easy to allocate into different pies or sectors, whichever way you want to call them. So we can even see on the left here, this is some of the 11 pies, and we can see the importance of dollar cost averaging or diversification across all different sectors. We can see, for example, here, energy is up 18.64%, whereas in comparison, materials is down 5.5%. So again, long term, that just gives great opportunities in materials to dollar cost average and get in at a cheaper price. Whereas let's say in energy, because it's up 18.5% in pretty much a very short space of time, I won't be touching that portfolio at all until there is a bit of a dip, because different sectors react differently to different market conditions, as I always say as well. But again, it just gives a great opportunity to always have opportunities to dollar cost average, because all sectors react differently, as we just said as well. So by having 50 stocks, there's always going to be one in the red, if not 5 to 10, especially in this current climate, there's probably a lot more than 10 in the red. But again, long term, this is brilliant news, and kind of we'll make a proper video in detail in terms of what's in each of these portfolio sectors in a video down the line as well. But for now, I'm happy with the progress, and we have €736 in my dividend portfolio. The next two on the list are ETFs and crypto. Now you can notice there's a big fat zero there in ETFs, and there's pretty much a few reasons for this. The first of which is I'm still kind of up in the air on what broker to use. Now, originally I was going to use DeGiro, but there's a few implications there in terms of you have to wait 3 to 5 working days each time to actually deposit your capital, which to me as an impatient person can be a bit of a pain. But that's not the main reason really. The other, which we will talk about in a few seconds down here in YouTube, which we can see in brackets, I am thinking of where I'm going to get the capital for this ETF, because we will only be investing in the S&P 500. Now, again, that's a very safe bet, so we won't get to 1 million in 5 years by being completely conservative either. So I don't want to put a lot of capital in here, hence we only have a €1,000 target. But again, as my portfolios grow over the years, this will play a big part in terms of keeping your overall capital in a relatively safe place. But again, I am considering using money we've made from YouTube, which we'll discuss in a few seconds, to actually put into the ETF, the S&P 500, instead of, let's say, keeping this YouTube money in a bank account, because as you know, just leaving money in a normal bank is actually a bad idea, because you're losing money in terms of inflation. So let's say €100 today would probably be only worth about €91 next year in terms of buying power. That would still be €100, but the purchasing power will be a lot less. So again, long term, that's probably why I want to have an SP 500, because it will keep up with the market and inflation overall, and on average it goes up about 10% a year. Again, nothing crazy here, but again, it is safe nonetheless. Now next we are on to crypto. So again, we only have about €120 here at the moment. Just like my dividend and grow portfolios, we only started this not so long ago as well on Coinbase. We'll have a look in a few seconds, but we only have one crypto here in terms of Bitcoin, mainly because a lot of the other coins I believe are kind of worthless and all hype. So that's only my own personal opinion. I'm no kind of expert on crypto at all by any stretch of imagination. But just like the ETF, I want to have about €1,000 here at the end of this year and kind of start to build up a portfolio, especially in the current climate where crypto in general, even more so than usual, is extremely volatile. So I'm kind of just patience is key here. And the last 3 occasions I put in €40 each time. Again, absolute peanuts in terms of the grand scheme of things, but slowly, consistently, dollar cost averaging when there is a big dip will make all the difference long term. For example, here we can see Bitcoin is currently trading about €32,603 at this moment in time. Now, we bought back probably our first bit in the first of the 3 installments of €40. We probably bought back when it was probably, I don't know to be honest, completely honest, but it was probably around here and the dip. So we bought another maybe 40 around here and 40 again only a week or so ago. And again, it's not like I could time the market, it's just kind of pure luck that it was continually dropping each time I deposited. It could easily drive way back up again over the next few weeks. As we know, crypto in general is extremely volatile, so saying that it could easily go down to 20,000 by tomorrow or 50,000 by tomorrow, who knows. But again, just like any other investment, you need to keep a cool head and realize it's about the long-term approach. And if anything, and this is for the market in general, if the market is dropping drastically, it might be a good time to start putting more capital in to get your average price down. I know I say it time and time again, but I think a lot of people forget that a lot of this is just noise, and that things like this will go back up in value as they give time. So again, that's my overall approach, and kind of one tip today is to remain calm and remember this is a long-term approach, not like a daily approach at all, because if you use that, you'll start to use your emotions, and that's one of the number one killers in terms of losing money in the market. I suppose then, just to speed things along for the last few, because there's not a whole lot to say about these. First of all, YouTube, we have about €305 here overall, which I do want to get up to about 2,500 at least this year. So again, I would make a kind of video of how much you hit on YouTube and stuff, but again, €305 doesn't warrant a full video at all. Maybe if we ever get up to the few thousand mark, I will start to make a video in terms of how much you make a day, etc. But for now, because the amount is so small, it's not worth talking about. But again, I am planning on putting this money into ETFs in the long term. We might have an update in the next monthly video in this kind of series as well. We then have €1,300 in other business. Again, I don't really want to discuss this yet because I want to wait until it's a bit more confirmed, but for now we have about €1,300 here. I want to have about 5,000 made by the end of this year, giving us a kind of bridge to our gap there of €3,700. Similarly with YouTube, we have not about €2,200 to bridge the gap as well. And in terms of general savings, I kept that as blank. Now there's a few reasons for this at the moment, mainly because we have a lot of capital in here at the moment, a lot more than the 31,365 below. But again, there's no point really of saying, oh, we have X amount here, considering that we will be having to throw it elsewhere anyway, because we are getting married this year. We have the honeymoon as well, and my stag, we have to get a second car, the house, etc, etc, etc. So as you can imagine, there's going to be a lot of money flowing out of that savings. But again, towards the end of this year, once a lot of things settle down and we move into the house and the wedding is complete, back from the honeymoon, etc., we will start to put in a more realistic amount at the bottom here. And again, once all those life events are complete, we will be able to put a lot more capital in on a weekly and monthly basis out of my salary, or both our salary should I say as well, which will really start driving this up as we hit the end of 2022 and onwards as well. So there you have it, guys. That's pretty much the end of January to 2022's recap. Now again, I'm really looking forward to looking back at a lot of these videos in the years to come in terms of going from that 0 to 1 million and having the whole thing documented on a monthly basis. Now, besides the monetary side of this, I'm also looking forward to looking back and seeing how this channel grows over time. We currently have 1,596 or 7 subscribers at the moment, so it's going to be very interesting to see where we are with this channel in 5 years' time. So again, it's great to document all this stuff, and I hope you can follow this journey along the way. Now, if you haven't subscribed already, I'd be really grateful if you could do so, as I'd like to kind of get up to maybe the 2,000 subscriber mark by the next monthly update, which might be a bit kind of a stretch, but hopefully with your guys' help as well, it would be great and muchly appreciated, and it'd be great if we could all go through this journey together. So thanks very much. I hope you all enjoy your weekend, and I will see you all in the next video.